Hi, today is episode 39, and I wanted to cover this topic on the mindset shifts that are needed for design thinking. My name is Ken, and you're watching Mastering UX. I think it's very easy for us to think of design thinking as something that's concrete in a box. We may have learned about some design thinking activities. We may see things like stickies, having workshops, even the double diamond process. And what I wanted to cover in this video is if we really want to enter into maturity, if we really want to have workshops that are more effective, where the participants are really bought into the process, and we're genuinely generating ideas and getting new insights and really reaping the benefits of what design thinking was created for, then there needs to be a mindset shift. And so mindset shifts, they definitely take some time. It's not something that happens overnight. But I will say, even in one design thinking workshop, it can be very helpful to kind of find opportunities to coach participants on the rationale of why we're doing certain things, such as using a sticky, why we have a Sharpie pen, why we're doing prototypes with primitive kind of tools like children's scissors and crayons and glue. There's really a rationale behind all those activities. And if we don't understand it, then we may not really have the buy-in that's needed for us to really have an effective workshop or enter into design thinking as something deeper than a one-time thing. So let's take a look at some of the mindset shifts that are needed. So the first one is shifting from a solution first mindset to a problem first mindset. I think we all are guilty of trying to solution too fast. We don't listen enough. We sometimes hear a problem and we start spitting out, 100 things that might work. But the mindset shift that's needed to generate a good problem is we really want to spend a lot of time exploring, discovering, generating all kinds of different ways of looking at the problem, empathizing with our users. There really is more value that can be found in really understanding the problem, reframing the problem. In fact, I have a whole video on this, and it's about why you get more benefit from reframing problems and framing problems than generating solutions. The second one is a lot of times our mindset is in eliminating choices, particularly with decisions, and shifting to this mindset of creating quantities of choices. I think it's natural. Decisions are hard to make, so we often start with trying to say, well, this is what I definitely do not want, or this is what I definitely cannot do, and this is definitely what I do not want to do. But in design thinking, what we really want to shift to is a mindset shift where we're generating a whole bunch of solutions. We have no thought about whether it's easy or hard or whether it's not meaningful enough. We just want to get a quantity of those choices. So there's a real opportunity when you're getting to the point where you're putting stickies into the participants' hands to explain that, a sticky. The reason why you want to use a sticky is it's small. It's also modular. You can kind of rip it off. You can also throw it away. You don't have to feel committed to it. And the reason why I'm giving you a Sharpie pen with this sticky is that I actually want to limit the amount that you can write on this. You don't need to explain yourself. This is about getting a quantity of ideas. And so that's just one kind of teaching moment. And the other thing is when you're doing this, you want to time box your ideation and teach people that it's amazing how many great ideas can be generated in 7 minutes. It's possible to create seven ideas in 7 minutes. And now that we have 5 people at the table, we have 35 ideas that can be generated. There could be value in seeing that the same idea came up, and who knows, one out of those 35 ideas could really be a game-changing idea. So the next one is shifting from a hierarchical mindset to a collaborative and democratic mindset. I don't want to say that we want to break down hierarchy and hierarchy is bad, but we've just been pickled with this idea of, that in our family, with politics, with your company, with culture, there's this idea that there's this kind of pecking order, and somebody's at the top, and the person on the top is not really involved in kind of the details, and the people that are down at the bottom aren't involved with creating the big ideas. But design thinking was created out of the idea of solving wicked problems. And to do this, there's this idea that there needs to be this collaboration where everybody does everything. Everybody kind of helps in the discovery, everybody helps with generating, seeing the problems, everybody helps in empathizing with the customer, everybody helps with prototyping. And so, IDEO, they were on Channel 7, ABC News, and they show how everybody, engineers, designers, business folks, are all involved in building a shopping cart. Some are more talented with welding and doing building and all these kind of things, but there's value in everyone coming together. Um, so another thing that there's an opportunity to teach is when you get to the part of having discussions, and you're maybe trying to dot vote on something, or you're trying to discuss and analyze what is the root problem, and have this kind of collaboration, to encourage everyone to have one conversation at a time, and also to remind your audience, what is the power of collaboration? Why are you doing these duplicate efforts? Why aren't we dividing and conquering? So the next mindset shift is going from an expert-centered mindset to a user-centered mindset. I think when we have a problem, we're trying to accomplish something, we're used to sort of dividing and conquering things. If you're a developer, you're technical, you do this. If you're somebody who's creative, the creatives do that. If you're somebody who's involved in business rules, the business analyst does that. Well, I'm not trying to say that this should never be done and we should just kind of abandon all these things. But in a design thinking workshop, the centricity, where our minds aren't in our expertise so much, but everybody is really rallying around the user. There should be a lot of time visiting what users feel, think, and empathizing with them, and also even the willingness to revisit what users are experiencing. Going back to that IDEO example, they were willing to go to the supermarket and take their baby dolls, put it in a shopping cart, and try to empathize. What is it like for a mother to be shopping in a cart? They observed different kinds of customers and seeing different kind of things that were clumsy, awkward with their shopping carts. This kind of customer centricity of everyone just kind of focusing in on the user is a fundamental shift. And it's even something that we may have embraced, but we just expect that maybe it's the UX people that are the only ones that do this. The next mindset shift is we may think that creativity or being creative is for the talented, and we want to shift to a mindset where everyone can co-create. And kind of it's related to the last point, but we often think that creatives, they're a special breed. They have a certain kind of gene. They were born a certain way. They're the ones that kind of come up with the creative colors and have more intuition and think holistically about certain things. But in a design thinking workshop, a lot of times you'll have, the crayons and poster paper and, primitive tools. And you may think, well, that's not going to be a very good prototype. Why not just have somebody that can really actually build something really well? But what you want to understand is that there's value in everyone coming together and doing this creation together. Um, I was in a design thinking training session, and we were working on a self-driving car. And to prototype that, we actually just used blue tape on the carpet. And it was great because we got to realize there were certain things that were awkward about that car. We realized that there were certain features that wouldn't work. The person who actually came up with the idea of a certain feature and everyone agreed with that person now gets to see firsthand and feel and experience this is not something that can work. You can see in a traditional mindset, it's easy for maybe this one expert to come up with this feature and not really kind of be balanced and kind of be on the same page as the rest of the organization. So again, there's a lot of value in co-creating. It doesn't need to be perfect. It's okay. You can do things with kind of Sharpie pens, markers, even crayons. It's okay as long as we're in this kind of process of co-creating together. You can be a director, you can be somebody who's on the lowest line. It is okay for us all to be in one room co-creating together. Finally, this one isn't talked about a lot, but what I do want to say is there might be the mindset that workshops are easy. It's easy to think that it's going to be this kind of kumbaya team building experience, or I'm in the daily grind, so I'm going to get to spend time with a bunch of people, socialize, and we're going to be done with it. But you do want to kind of let your audience know that design thinking is actually quite hard. Being social, collaborating with one another, listening to one another, generating big ideas and ideas that we've never thought about. This is hard. And synthesizing is particularly hard. Synthesizing is the opposite of generating. So, in the part of brainstorming and trying to create a quantity of choices, this actually is different, so it's kind of challenging. But when we're trying to converge, when we're trying to understand the relationship, understand which one is deeper, is this more of a root cause? This actually requires a lot of what I call brain juice or brain energy. And so you want to prepare your audience to let them know that this is not easy and that it's going to require quite a bit of focus. So those are the 6 mindsets shifts that you're going to want to have. This is not something that I've kind of won and done or I've conquered. These are mindset shifts that I often slip into the opposite mindset shift. And I don't want to also present these mindset shifts as something that needs to revolutionize your entire life in every aspect. But when we are entering into design thinking, it's very important for us to understand why we want to have a different mindset in the different activities that we're doing, and that there's a rationale and a reason why doing things and being different is very important. So one recommendation in conclusion, I just want to say one recommendation is when you start off your design thinking workshop to have a few slides to prepare your audience on thinking about things a little bit differently. And you may realize that your particular audience has a particular way of almost a disposition, a way that they do things. Some audience might be very detail oriented, risk averse. Some might not be social. Some might be social but not very serious. And so you can spend a little bit more time tailored to your audience on explaining these things. And as you're going through the different activities, you can explain what is the mindset shift that you want to have. I wouldn't necessarily use that word that you need to have a mindset shift, but what is the mindset and what is the difference in how we're doing something and why we're doing this and why it's important and why it's going to be helpful. And so by kind of coaching, by giving cues, by leading and guiding your participants in this direction, I think you're going to experience that there's going to be more depth in your design thinking workshop. There's more genuine buy-in. People are going to take the workshop a little bit more seriously. And if we can get through these mindset shifts, then I would say design thinking is really powerful. Design thinking is something that can help us really generate ideas that are much more well thought out. They're empathetic, so they're more relevant to your users, and they can be a lot more creative. Design thinking is powerful, but if we don't really have the mindset shift, we just treat it as some kind of cute exercise, there's a limit to the benefit that the business is going to receive from it. So if you got this far in the video, I appreciate it. Liking the video, subscribing to this channel, and leaving a comment are all ways that you can support this channel. I'll see you on the next one.